Oh, hi everybody. What I'm going to do is have a video about 3 ships and what are the connection between the 3. And if you listen to the end, there's quite a coincidence about these 3 ships. Well, 2 of them anyway. It involves me. How does it involve window cleaning? Well, why am I doing videos like this? Because eventually, well actually next year, hopefully I'm going to retire, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sliding away slowly from making videos about window cleaning and more other subjects, so I'm going to have to sort of slide into that slowly. Hopefully I'm going to retire in Malta and I'll be doing some videos there. I'll just have to see how it goes. For all you subscribers, I'm very grateful, but if you want to subscribe to this sort of channel where I'm doing miscellaneous stuff now, that's okay. So it's more about my experiences. But anyway, what have these 3 ships got in common? The Belgrano, the Conqueror and the Lowestoft. Okay, let's show you on here. This is a very crude form of editing, isn't it, eh? Now that's the General Belgrano, originally a United States ship. They sold it to Argentina. I think some of you are clicking already. That was the flagship of the Argentine Navy during the Falklands War. Okay. Right, the next ship we're going to talk about here is submarine, nuclear submarine. That was the Conqueror with Tigerfish torpedoes. That was a nuclear powered submarine. Keel laid down in the late 60s. Went on to be decommissioned in 1990, I think. Now I've got the Lowestoft. Now that ship, that was one of the ships that I actually served on. I was on that from 1974 to 75. I was actually aircrew at the time. I used to fly in this thing. Now that wasn't me there, but it could well have been. That's what it actually looked like. I'd actually left the ship by then, but that's exactly what it was like. I used to fly on the left hand side of the pilot, just over here, and I had a mascot just at the top here inside. That was Snoopy. I wasn't the best aircrewman in the world, in fact pretty awful, but I got through it. It was all an experience. So what have these 3 vessels got in common? Well, the General Belgrano in the Falklands War was their flagship. There was a 200-mile exclusion zone thrown around the Falklands Islands. However, the General Belgrano was a threat. So what actually happened was she was steaming towards the outer perimeter of this 200-mile limit, and Mrs. Thatcher, the Prime Minister at the time, ordered the Conqueror to actually sink the Belgrano, and that is exactly what happened. She fired one single Tigerfish torpedo at the General Belgrano, and indeed it was enough to sink the ship. Over 300 lives were lost that day, which is quite tragic. It is a bit controversial because although the country was at war at the time, the Belgrano was not inside the 200-mile exclusion zone. Now, what happened with this ship, the Lowestoft? Now, what's the connection with that one and this particular photograph here? Well, in 1986, HMS Conqueror here used the Lowestoft for target practice, and that was the result. Now this was the last ship that was ever sunk for target practice having the pennant number on the side still. They don't do that anymore. Okay, so my old ship, although I didn't enjoy it at the time, it was still a little bit sad to see this happen. This was done in 1986. Okay, So that's the connection between these three vessels. Okay, let me show you a little bit more here. I'll just see if I can scroll this down. I'll just leave it on here. This is the album. It'll just flip between each one at the moment. Now the final twist in the story is that, as you know, many of you know, I'm a window cleaner, and I was cleaning windows. It's only about 400 yards or so from where I live, from this very spot, and I was talking to a chap who I knew was in the Navy. And of course we got chatting away, and I said I was on the Lowestoft, and he giggled to himself for a minute and he says, "Do you know what?" He said, "I was the one that pressed the button to launch the torpedo that actually sank the Lowestoft." So there you have it. It's quite a bit of a coincidence, that, really, isn't it? So there's a lot of coincidence happens in life, but that's one of those that's happened to me. So that's quite remarkable, really. The guy that actually sank one of my ships was on board the Conqueror that actually sank the Belgrano in 1982 at the Falklands. Well, there you go. So that's another job done.